Cool. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael. I'm the admissions counselor at Grand Valley. And today we are joined today by Mackenzie Prince, an academic advisor within the Kirkhof College of Nursing. And we're also joined today by Genevieve Elrod, who is a professor within the college as well. And I will only be hosting this session. So if you do have any questions, just feel free to type them in the chat and I'll go ahead and let Mackenzie and Professor Elrod know. We're also joined today by Madeline Herbert and Paige Berman, and they are some of our student panelists as well. So if you do have any questions, any of us can help you, including admissions. Feel free to let me know and I'm more than happy to help. But with that being said, I'll go ahead and give the floor over to Mackenzie and Professor Elrod.
Hi, welcome. My name is Mackenzie Prince. I am one of the academic advisors in the Kirkhof College of Nursing. There's actually a whole team of us that work with students who are pursuing nursing at Grand Valley from the first day they get to campus all the way through to graduation. The nursing program at Grand Valley is a competitive secondary admission program. So it is a full 8 semesters in length, what comes out to be 4 years. You have 3 preclinical semesters and 5 clinical semesters. So when you start off at Grand Valley, a lot of the classes you'll begin with are what we call your prerequisite courses for the nursing program, as well as your general education requirement, which is required by any student that attends at Grand Valley. Sophomore year is when most of our students will then submit their application to the nursing program, as well as take some of what we call our co-requisite courses. I know those are some fancy terms, but I'll explain it on the next slide. And the majority of our students will then probably start the nursing program that second semester of sophomore year. And you'll notice then it's 5 semesters of clinicals between then and graduation. So what are those classes? Well, the prerequisite classes are classes that have to be completed before you can submit your actual application to nursing. Right, so as a secondary competitive admission program, when you originally applied to Grand Valley, you still have to apply to the nursing program after that. So again, when you look back, it's usually around your sophomore year that you're doing that. The prerequisite classes are pretty heavy in science. You notice there's biology, anatomy and physiology, a couple chemistry classes, a writing, psychology, and then we also let you choose 1 general education class of your choice. So those 7 prerequisite classes create what we like to call your prerequisite GPA. And I'll mention that again later, but that becomes the important GPA when you're actually submitting your application into the nursing program. Some of you might have some of these classes done ahead of time. If you're taking advanced placement exams and score a 3, you could earn some credit. If you're taking an IB higher level exam and score a 4 or above, I know you could earn some credit for these. Or you might be doing some dual enrollment while in high school, and that's also a way that you might have some of the prerequisites done before you even start at Grand Valley. So that's going to be your primary focus for classes within like your first year. When you apply to the nursing program then in your sophomore year, it takes a couple months to go through that application process. But while you're applying, you'll be enrolled in what we call our co-requisites. And these are classes that just have to be done before you can start any of those clinical semesters. Right, so some more anatomy and physiology, additional psychology class, microbiology, and statistics. So that admissions process, what does it look like? Well, we actually have 2 application periods per year. 80 students are admitted each semester, so we have 160 seats total for the program. You can either apply in August, and when you apply in August, you would be starting the program the following January. Or we have another application period open in January if you want to start the program the August after that. So you're always applying about a semester in advance. Now there are some like baseline requirements that you have to meet in order to submit that application. So we need you to have at least a 3.0 or higher overall GPA. So that is all of the college classes you would have taken, right? So we're just looking at your college level. So anything in dual enrollment or your first year at Grand Valley. Your admissions prerequisite GPA also has to be above a 3.0, right? So when we pull out all 7 of those classes, that also has to be above the 3 point. You need at least a C or higher in any of those prerequisite courses. And if for some reason you didn't get a C or you're not above a 3.0, we do just have a repeat policy, which limits how many times you can retake some of those classes. But meeting those baseline requirements does not guarantee you admission into our nursing college. So as a competitive program, we usually see about 2 to 3 times the number of applications as we have for available seats. So for a semester where we have 80 seats open, it is common for us to see anywhere from about 220 to 250 applicants. So I know that brings up the next question, which is, okay, well, what do I need to get admitted? Well, we give equal consideration to 4 different things when you're applying to the program. It's a holistic admission, which means that not one of these 4 things is more important than the other. Everything is looked at from a holistic lens. So the first thing is that prerequisite GPA, right? I keep mentioning that. That is those 7 classes. So that is the GPA that you submit to determine how competitive of an applicant you are. So it's not your overall, it's just those 7 prerequisite courses. All students that apply get to go through an interview process. Right? So we do about 250 interviews every single semester, but that gives you the chance. The interview is all about being able to show your personality, talking about your experiences, and letting us know like why you want to be a nurse. Students will all submit a personal statement, which is a 650-word response. So it ends up being like 2 pages, double spaced, to a very open-ended question. And then all students will also submit what we call your student profile, which is very similar to what you would put on a resume. It's a form, and you can put down your work experience, leadership opportunities, any volunteer work or traveling, awards and certifications that you've gotten. So it's really just, I always say it's like you and everything you've done on one piece of paper. So these 4 things are all weighted equally. Again, one is not more important than the other. One of the questions I always get is, well, okay, I'm a senior in high school, or maybe you're at your first year in college, like what can I do now to get prepared for the program? And the 2 things out of these 4 that you can probably start thinking about ahead of time are, 1, your grades, right? To make sure that you're doing what you need to be prepared academically for the program. When you're at Grand Valley, we offer like free tutoring for your classes. You can go to office hours, drop into the Chemistry Success Center, right? So making sure that you are doing what you need to excel in the classroom. And then also number 4, right, the student profile is just get involved. That's probably the best thing you could do to prepare yourself, is to make sure that you are doing things outside of the classroom as well. And it doesn't always have to be specific to healthcare. You could join and continue on with sports or an instrument or any other hobby or interest that you have. We love to see student involvement in whatever aspect that might be. So those are 2 things that I would say, even if you're applying in a year from now or more than a year from now, that you can kind of start thinking about as you're getting ready for this competitive application. And always use your academic advisor. So I mentioned at the beginning that we are with you from day 1. You'll be assigned an advisor in the nursing program, and we're really with you every step of the way. So you're never going through this process on your own. But yeah, so that's a little bit about kind of what to expect. This is going to be probably heavy on your mind first 3 years and those like pre-clinical semesters. And I'm going to pass it on to Genevieve next, who will talk a little bit more about what to expect then once you're in the nursing program.
Thanks, Mackenzie. So like she said, as an academic advisor, she's with you as a student from day one, as soon as you decide, yes, I want to be a nursing major, even though you're still waiting on that secondary admission process. So you don't see me as a faculty member until you're admitted to the program, but let's assume that you are, and we'll talk now about what that's like to be a Grand Valley nursing student. So we have outstanding faculty teaching all of our classes, and I'm not saying that just because I am one. We really have people that are nationally and internationally recognized for the work that they do, both in teaching and in delivering nursing care. They're also engaged in professional organizations within their nursing specialties and involved in research and scholarly activities too. Students have, like you'll see here on this slide, tons of opportunities to apply and grow their abilities in critical thinking as a nurse, in assessing their patients and delivering evidence-based nursing interventions, communicating with their patients well. There's everything from professional nursing theoretical classes to tons of clinical experiences, preceptorships, simulations, study abroad in Ghana, and all of this leads toward preparing you for the NCLEX, which is the national licensing exam that nurses need in order to practice in the United States. So all of our courses cover all sorts of the spectrum of everything that you'll be tested on in that NCLEX, and the spectrum of everything that you might be interested in pursuing once you are a nurse. So whether that's taking care of adults, older adults, children, babies, families, mental illness, working in the community setting, you'll be exposed to all of that in our nursing program. And two more things about our program here relate to accreditation and licensing. So Grand Valley's nursing program at the Kirkhof College of Nursing, we're accredited by the CCNE, that's the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education. Now, employers really prefer to hire graduates of accredited programs like ours is, because that means that you've been trained under nationally established standards for nursing education. So that's a bonus that you have getting a degree from Grand Valley in nursing. Graduates from accredited nursing programs like we are then also qualified to attend other accredited schools if they want to pursue advanced degrees. I know plenty of students walk into nursing school right away saying they know that they want to be a nurse practitioner. Well, that's great. That accredited degree, undergraduate degree, helps you pursue a graduate degree at some point down the line. And then I mentioned accreditation and also licensing. So that's the NCLEX exam. So our program prepares you very well to take the NCLEX exam after your graduation. Grand Valley graduates are always above state averages and national averages in terms of the percentage of students that pass that NCLEX exam on their first time. Simulation is a big part of what we do here at Grand Valley, and it runs the gamut from very low end to very high end. So on the low end of things, we have what we consider just simple task trainers, like a little fake arm that you can start an IV on to learn that skill. And then we have really some low fidelity mannequins after that, things that do simple tasks like you can check their pulse and you can check their blood pressure as an alternative to doing that on a real person. And then we also have very high fidelity equipment as well, which is very exciting to practice on in a more low stakes way than a human being. We have mannequins that even pregnant mannequins that give birth, for example. So there's all sorts of really exciting things that you can practice right on site at Grand Valley before you get into the real hospital setting or while you're into the real hospital setting to supplement your learning with targeted experiences. We also have what's listed at the bottom of the slide here, a standardized patient program. Really, this is the most robust in the state. When I say standardized patient program, what I mean is that we have real life actors, people that are hired in to come in and portray someone with an illness so that you can practice your skills of assessing them and asking them questions and figuring out the ways to deliver the best nursing care to them. Mackenzie talked about our pre-nursing courses as those prerequisite classes as well as the nursing classes. So all of those prerequisite nursing classes are taught in our Allendale campus in those first 3 semesters, the things like chemistry and anatomy and psychology. You'll get those on our main Allendale campus. Once you're admitted into the nursing program, those last 5 semesters of the program, those classes take place on our health campus in Grand Rapids. And that's what's considered the medical mile. We have a growing health campus there, and it's also adjacent to a ton of different hospital facilities, all in the same block of the same stretch of several blocks. So you will learn there, and then you'll also learn at clinical sites all throughout the greater Grand Rapids area. So there are plenty of hospital systems, Spectrum, Metro, Mercy Health, and then there are also things outside of the traditional hospital setting that you might see nurses working at. We also have clinical rotations where nursing faculty and students are in community settings, or they're in schools, they're in the county health department, they work in a few different community-based organizations with local refugees. So all those ways that nurses can help inside and outside the box to help prepare students, we have you there. Here's a little map of our medical mile, and you can see that we've got a new building in the works. We're planning on moving into that next year. So we're growing from 2 buildings to 3 buildings very soon, and excited. By the time you're in our program, we will be up and fully functional in that building. And so you'll have all that they all have to offer.
All right, and just to wrap it up a little bit here, we are available if anyone has any questions after the fact. I have my email, so since I work with a lot of incoming students and pre-nursing, if you want to go ahead and email me if you have any direct questions. My email is on there at the bottom right. We also just have the general nursing email if you need it. And then we just encourage students to keep up with us, follow us on social media, so you can kind of get an idea of what's happening at our college before you're here, and then also once you get to campus. So.
Cool. Well, thanks for y'all for sharing that. And I did want to open up the floor to Madeline and Paige, being nursing students as well. I do want to ask y'all, are there anything, being nursing students at Grand Valley, was there anything y'all would like to add?
I'd just like to add, so when you're looking at this PowerPoint and you see all of these stats of the things that KCON has to offer, you know, it truly is that way. All of the faculty are so nice and just really there to help you learn. They're a really great faculty. So that's one of the things that makes this program so good. And the Grand Rapids area gives you so many opportunities to learn in different hospital systems, which really just helps you diversify the areas in which you get to practice as a student, which is so valuable. So.
And I would just like to add, I'm not yet a nursing student. I'm still in the pre-nursing phase, I guess you could call it. But this program really is one of a kind. And even though it's a lot of work and a lot of commitment, it's totally worth it. And if this is your passion, this is the place to pursue that passion for sure.
Cool. So now I do want to open up the floor to those in attendance. Was there any specific questions or concerns y'all might have had for me as an admissions counselor, or Mackenzie, the nursing advisor, or Professor Elrod, or our current students? If you do have questions, feel free to type them in the chat, like I said, or feel free to also use that Q&A feature located at the bottom of the Zoom screen. And we'll wait a couple minutes while we have a couple of those questions trickle in. So it looks like I do have a question here. What happens if you're not admitted the first time into the program?
Michael, are you okay with me answering that one?
Sure.
Okay, so for a lot of students it's a competitive program, right? So I give you the numbers, 80 seats a semester, 250 applicants. That can be a scary, scary statistic. Students that aren't admitted on the first time, a lot of times will apply again, right? So you have 2 applications per year. If you apply in August and don't get admitted, a lot of times students will then turn around and apply in January to start the following semester. So the nice thing about working with your academic advisor from day one is having that academic plan set and ready for whatever happens, whether you get admitted or need to apply a second time. A lot of students who do need to apply again, it seems pretty easy to fill that schedule. A lot of times you're filling it with additional general education classes that you might have not had finished yet. And there's also a handful of classes that are in the nursing program that you can also take ahead of time. So sometimes we bump those up. Regardless, though, if you do have to apply twice, you're still working toward your degree. If you are finished with all of those things, we also have some students that are excited to then look at maybe the opportunity of pursuing something like a minor to help just enhance that nursing education in whichever realm they end up wanting to work in once they graduate. So minors like biology, Spanish, psychology, those can be pretty popular for students that maybe are done with everything else, but really want to continue that education in some way.
Well, thank you for sharing, Mackenzie. And I think that if there's no more questions, this does conclude the session. So thank y'all for being a part of this experience, both the panelists and attendees. We'll stick around for a couple minutes just in case y'all have any questions. As mentioned, feel free to use Q&A or chat feature. But thank y'all for joining this session, and hopefully y'all have a great day.